Other than the exterior design, the 2020 Ford Explorer shares nothing in common with the outgoing model. It has a better chassis, a big vertical touchscreen, and it comes in hybrid and high-performance powertrains. Now, I'm driving the fast Explorer today. This is the ST. Unfortunately, your local police department can order the same engine on their patrol cars. But we'll find out today if the ST is actually worth its $60,000 asking price, and if the regular Explorer models stack up against brand new SUVs from Toyota, Kia, and Subaru. So let's hop in and find out. The big news about the 2020 Explorer is the powertrains. Every Explorer gets more of everything. The 6-speed automatic is now a 10-speed. The base trims get a 2.3-liter Turbo 4 with 300 horsepower and 310 pound-feet. The Platinum gets a twin-turbo V6 with 365 horsepower and 380 pound-feet. Then there's the ST, which bumps that V6 to 400 horsepower and 415 pound-feet. Okay, put this thing in sport. Goodbye, camera crew. Is still a heavy vehicle, but you'd never know that with the ST. This engine just pulls and pulls. Now, the engine sound under load is kind of fake and there's no exhaust sound to speak of, but other than that, I really don't hate a thing about how this car drives. This car rides great. Cornering is flat and composed. It stops like a champ. That's because choosing the ST means you get an upgraded suspension, steering, and brakes. And the chassis it starts with is rear-wheel drive. That means more balanced weight distribution, which means more balanced handling. I'm honestly so shocked at how good this car is to drive and how much of a jerk I've sometimes been while driving it. The tuning is spot on. And remember, just 20 years ago, Explorers were blowing their tires and rolling over. Now the Explorer dances like a Mustang. The ST is not everyone's cup of tea. It's rather unusual among non-luxury SUVs. Really, the only direct competitor is the Dodge Durango SRT, which has a V8. In the fuel economy, well, I've been getting about 19 miles to the gallon, and it's not my fault. The EPA rates the ST and the Platinum trims at 18 city, 24 highway, and 20 combined. The 4-cylinder with all-wheel drive is your best choice, and it gets 20 miles per gallon city, 27 highway, and 23 combined. The Limited has a gas-electric hybrid powertrain with a 3.3-liter V6 and one electric motor. I haven't driven it, and I don't think you need to even waste your time. It's hardly any more efficient than the regular 4-cylinder, and it costs a whole lot more. If you want a really good hybrid SUV with 3 rows of seats, get the Toyota Highlander. All Explorers can tow a minimum of 5,000 pounds, or up to 5,600 with the V6. The truck has 7 driving modes, including one for towing, that balances the vehicle's power and all-wheel drive system for the best traction. When you're just cruising, the Explorer is really quiet and smooth. From the outside, the Explorer has the look of a Land Rover. I'm glad Ford didn't do too much here, because it's been handsome for a decade, but it feels leaner and more muscular. The Explorer blends utilitarian and upscale design really well, but the old model appeared bloated from some angles, particularly the rear. This one's dropped all that water weight. The ST adds blacked out window trim, black 21-inch wheels, red brake calipers, and exhaust tips like this that look normal, but the exhaust is actually routed out the bottom of the pipes instead of out the back. That's because Ford likes to keep those pipes clean. It even puts washers on the rear camera and the front camera. All in all, this is a car with very good hygiene. It also makes very good use of space. The old Explorer uses an even older Volvo chassis dated from the late 1990s. Modifying that chassis meant mounting these seats further inboard. In the rear, well, there wasn't much of a rear seat. Now the third row has more head and shoulder room. Those seats can power fold, and while the bench is too flat for long trips, I don't hate it on the ride to the bar. Getting out is easy as the rear doors swing open nice and wide. The Explorer offers 88 cubic feet of storage with the seats down, and in the first 2 rows it just feels more open. It didn't take much either. A ½ inch by your knees, another inch for your shoulders. These little adjustments matter, and the Explorer delivers. But the D-pillar still blocks my view while reversing, and the reversing camera is pretty bad. It defaults to this tiny fuzzy square. With a screen this big, I want to see everything. Most Explorer models come with a wider and smaller touchscreen, but on ST and Platinum trims, you can get a vertical touchscreen that measures 10 inches. The way it splits info on the home screen is useful, and so are its many settings. The swiping and zooming on the maps is easy, so is scrolling through radio channels. It's a simple and clear interface, and the seats have massage. Copilot 360 comes standard on the Explorer. It brings forward emergency braking, blind spot monitoring, lane keeping, and auto high beams. The Assist Plus adds active lane assist for use with the adaptive cruise control. On the higher trims, it comes standard. But while it's not as good as the other semi-automated driving systems out there, check this out. When you change your driving mode while using the adaptive cruise control, a different Ford model appears as the lead vehicle on the instrument panel. I like little clever things like that. This is a 12-inch display that replaces the analog gauges on the lesser trims. Now it's pretty and the layout switches with the driving modes, but other than that, there's not much happening. You can't see full screen maps or really get into all this customization like you would in an Audi or a Jaguar. What I really don't like about the Explorer's interior are its materials. Yeah, the look is sleek modern architecture, like how the vents are stacked like windows above this wraparound dash. And at lower prices, I wouldn't mind the hard plastics on the doors or the flat gray plastic all over the instrument panel or the cheap leather. But this Explorer isn't cheap. Most Explorer models with nav and the moonroof will cost nearly 50 grand. This one is 60. And yes, it's got a really big engine, but I'm sorry, inside here, this is not luxury. The 2020 Explorer starts as low as $32,765 for fleet customers, but for retail customers like you and me, it starts at $36,675 for a rear-wheel drive XLT. CarGurus recommends the XLT spec to about 48 grand. Order all-wheel drive, moonroof, the comfort package for those front and rear heated seats, and Copilot 360 Assist Plus. That'll get you within reach of those higher trims without splurging too much on those big engines. The problem is that the Kia Telluride is very good. The Subaru Ascent and Toyota Highlander are all new for 2020 and they're also good. So is the Honda Pilot. All these SUVs sticker for under 50 grand, fully loaded. The Chevy Traverse is 52. The Explorer in ST or Platinum costs 60. At that price, I'm torn. The interior is a major letdown, and for a few grand more, I can buy a real luxury SUV like the Volvo XC90. My only real problem with the 2020 Ford Explorer is the price. The big engine, that's fantastic. Having all the options is great. But when other brand new SUVs are doing the same things for 10 or 12 grand less, I'm not so thrilled. Buy a new Explorer for under 50 grand and you'll have a very roomy, stylish, and high-tech ride for your whole family. You won't be going as fast as the ST, but I think you can live with that. Thanks for watching. For full details on the 2020 Explorer, read my review at CarGurus.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.